Welcome, everyone. Thank you for clicking on this video. This is a breakdown of all the new movies and shows coming out for the month of March. And let me tell y'all, we're live, by the way, so check out the replay. I'll leave the video in the description of this video. But we have a lot to look forward to in the month of March, and we're about to break it all down. So before we do so, do your boy a favor, hit the like button, share, comment what movies and shows you're most excited for. Let me know what movies and shows I might have missed in this breakdown, and let's have a conversation in the comment section. With that being said, let's start off about all the stuff that is coming to the big screens, and that is all the new movies coming out in the month of March. And I'm saying this now, I can't remember a March ever in my existence of life being this stacked. As you all will see, literally every month, every Friday of the month, there's a new release, and a pretty big one at that. So with that being said, let's kick things off with what's coming in theaters on this coming Friday, which is March 3rd. And that is, as you can see, Creed 3, which is available in IMAX, and the new Guy Ritchie spy action comedy by the name of Operation Fortune. Let's start off with Operation Fortune, because this is a film that I really enjoyed. A short review that I put out on the channel. By the time this video is out, you can see it on the channel, but it's fun. It's some action. It's a spy espionage stuff going on. We have some, stereotypical stuff you see in the spy genre, but it has that Guy Ritchie flair, and it also has some really great performances. The cast and the chemistry was on point. Led by Jason Statham. You got Aubrey Plaza, who's great in everything I've ever seen her in. I love her so much. Josh Hartnett's making a comeback. I'm a really big fan of his, and he was okay. Again, keep an eye out for my review for that. Hugh Grant is front and center. He's a very interesting character, and also the secondary characters. Bugsy Malone was great, and again, it's just a really fun. If you're a fan of Guy Ritchie, you kind of know what to expect from his sensibilities as a director. His films are energetic, they're fast paced, and then it's his dialogue that really hooks me. So Operation Fortune does come out this coming Friday. I believe it has a limited release in theaters, and if it is in your theaters, I recommend you all give it a watch. And if it's not in your theaters, if it's available on streaming in the next coming weeks or so, go ahead and check it out. And I don't think you all would be disappointed. So that is one of the two major releases coming out this Friday. But the big one that has a lot of people excited, including myself, and I have seen it, and I'm talking about Creed 3. That's right. We got my man Adonis Creed continuing his legacy that he got from his father, and the struggle to take on that name from the first two films, to now fully embracing it. And now he has to take that name and that legacy against a really close friend of his, a childhood buddy of his. That's Damon, played by the one and only Jonathan Majors, who's having a heck of a year so far. Has had a heck of a run the last few years, dating back to Last Black Man in San Francisco, Lovecraft Country. The man is, and we got, without giving too much away, because I know the film is premiering as I'm recording this tonight, and it's coming out officially on Friday for the nationwide release. I'm a fan of this franchise, and I think if you're a fan of the Creed franchise and the Rocky franchise, but more particularly Creed, because if you are been following these films, you know that Rocky is not in this movie. That isn't a spoiler. They made that very public years ago. But this is Michael B. Jordan's coming out party from the sense of he's not only leading this movie as Adonis Creed, but he's also directing this film for the first time. And I got to say, man, he did a pretty good job. There are some shortcomings. Again, I have a full breakdown on this film on my channel now, but there's some shortcomings in some of the directional choices. But overall, he did a pretty solid job. And I think he's been bitten by that bug. You don't just do one film and say, all right, I tried that. Let me just go stick to acting. I think we're going to see more of him directing films, and I'm here for it, especially if we get a Creed 4 or a spinoff based on, the most recent Creed. So I really enjoyed the film. Jonathan Majors was fantastic. The chemistry between Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors is on point. Tessa Thompson's on point. The family foundation is still there in the films, and the fight sequences are pretty electric. There's some creative choices in the ring that Michael B. Jordan decided to go with, and I'm still kind of, thinking over. But overall, the fight scenes capture the brutality of boxing, and it is shot really well in that sense. And again, if you've been following this franchise, it continues that legacy of the Creed name. So I really recommend you all give this a watch if you haven't already bought your tickets. And again, check out my full review, which you can see on the channel now. So that is coming out this Friday, March 3rd. So moving on to the following week, which is March 10th. And this is again, man, Friday, be in the theaters. This is a nice little double feature. Coming out March 10th, we have 65 starring Adam Driver. And Again, if you know my channel, you know I love me some horror, and this is one. And just out of all the subgenres in horror, supernatural, psychological thriller, slashers. I'm a slasher boy. Michael Myers is my favorite slasher icon. Halloween 1970 is my favorite horror film. Followed by, as far as slasher genre, Ghostface takes a couple, he leaps over some of those icons, but we're talking Scream 6 coming out on Friday. But let's start off with 65. Now, this film, I don't know a ton about, which I actually like. I've seen some snippets. I've seen a little bit of the trailer, and I didn't go too further than this 30-second clip I saw on YouTube on a commercial one day. So as far as what I know, just to give you guys a brief synopsis of what you all can expect for this new Adam Driver film, 65, here's the rundown. So here's a quick synopsis without giving too much away. After a catastrophic crash on an unknown planet, Pilot Mills, that's a really good name for an explorer and exploring space. Pilot Mills quickly discovers he's actually stranded on Earth 65 million years ago. Now, with his only chance to be at rescue, Mills and the only survivor that he comes across must make their way across an unknown terrain riddled with many dangerous prehistoric creatures in an epic fight to survive. So if you see the poster there, and let me make it a little bit bigger, that seems to look like a dinosaur skeleton. So prehistoric creatures trying to survive. And if you've seen the trailer, you know what prehistoric creatures they're referring to. But if they're showing us that in the trailer and they're talking about that in the synopsis, I think there's going to be more things that he's going to have to fight against with this young lady, played by Andrea Block, what's her name? Greenblatt, who I think that young lady was, she was young Gamora, if I'm not mistaken. So listen, man, Adam Driver, check, one of the best actors in Hollywood. We have the writers, I believe, from the writers of The Quiet Place, one of the best thrilling horror films in the last decade, if you ask me, part 1 and part 2. So you got those writers, and then you have a sci-fi. I would imagine some horrific vibes, because I think these creatures are not going to be too friendly. So I think we're going to see now. I don't know if that means there's going to be a high body count, because from what I gather from the synopsis and a little bit of trailer I've seen, there's only 2 characters in the movie, but might be some other, characters that they just haven't shown us. I think that they've done a really good job of marketing this, because I don't know much about it other than that synopsis I read and the little 30-second teaser I saw. So I don't know, man. We might have a sleeper on our hands. Like, we have a lot of big films that we'll be talking about, but this might be the one that might have people talking the most. We'll see. We'll see, y'all. So that is coming out 2 weeks from now, or next week, I should say, on March 10th, and that is 65. Simple. I love that title. It's a simple title. But something that's not simple, that's Scream in the franchise, and in a good way. That's not a bad way. I love Scream, as I mentioned earlier. But as far as not being simple, it's always complicated when it comes to who done it, who's the killer, who is behind the mask. And I've been lucky enough, because apparently there have been spoilers out there for a couple weeks, couple months, if I'm being honest, and I've avoided them, and I'm going to keep dodging them. Twitter, Instagram, I'm not looking at any spoilers. I'm just going to, cut to the chase as far as the thing that does make me upset. If you have been following this franchise since 1996, you know that this film is the first Scream film that doesn't have Nev, y'all. It doesn't have Nev Campbell. Man, I'm really stoked for this new Scream film. I will be fortunate enough that I will be seeing it on March 6th, I believe, which I believe is on Monday. So keep an eye out for spoiler-free. Keep an eye out for out-of-theater reaction for the film, spoiler-free review whenever the embargo lifts, and then maybe a spoiler review, man. Keep an eye out for that. So very excited for Scream 6. Yes, I am bitter. I'm sad that Nev Campbell, as of now, doesn't appear to be in the film, but we'll see come next week. But let me know in the chat, in the comment section, if you all are excited for Scream 6 coming out next week, man. I can't wait. I can't wait. So moving on to the next week here. Shazam! Fury of the Gods coming out March 17th, which is 2 weeks from now. So first and foremost, I'm a fan of the original 2018 or 2019. One of those 2 years. I think it was 2019. Shazam! I enjoyed it. It was a nice family fun. Shazam, the first one, reminded me a lot of like Ant-Man. It was, the family movie. It was, about the family. It was about having family and all that different stuff. And I really enjoyed that narrative. And I thought that the kids were great. The chemistry was great. I'm a big fan of the director, David F. Sandberg, Lights Out, Annabelle creation, and then of course Shazam here. I think he's a really great director, and he brings in his horror sensibilities in the first Shazam. And I'm gonna let y'all know this is exclusive to my audience. I can't talk too much about it, but I'll just say this: I have seen Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and that's all I can say. There's an embargo on the film. I saw it a couple months ago. That's all I'll say. So it comes out March 17th. All I'll say is, if you are a fan of the first one, give it a chance, man. So that's my thoughts on Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I will have a actual review coming out. I literally shot the review like months ago. So I'm really excited to share that with you all, and getting more information when I can release the review to get my thoughts on it. But hey, let me know in the comments, man, if you all are excited about Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Yeah, see the smile on my face? This is a franchise I'm a big fan of, y'all. Oh man, March 24th. I can't believe we are 4 chapters into this guy here and his crew of other assassins. John Wick Chapter 4, which will be available in IMAX, and I hope I can see it in IMAX because, man, I love me some John Wick, y'all. I'm a fan of this franchise. I'm a fan of Keanu Reeves. I think he's found the perfect set of directors and writers in this franchise that suits his sensibilities as an actor, right? He's good at what he's good at, right? And I think he's great at playing John Wick. Stoic, not a man of many words, but he's a man of many bullets and many weapons, and he can make a weapon. I mean, look, I got a random USB laying here. He can kill you with a USB thumb drive. That's how dangerous John Wick is, man. And we're 4 chapters in, and Baba Yaga is on the run for the high table. I don't know how the hell he survived after John Wick 3. If you all have seen that, my man came down multiple stories from a building and survived. But we're going after the high table. We have our new villains, which is Donnie Yen. Oh my goodness, Ickman versus John Wick. My mind right now can't even imagine the action sequences we're going to see, and hopefully IMAX in a couple weeks. Donnie Yen, my man Bill Skarsgård, Pennywise himself, the dancing clown, is in it as a villain, and it's just riddled with other amazing talent. I don't know if Halle Berry is going to be a part of this one. I would hope so, because I really enjoyed her character in the third one. But we already know there's a John Wick 5 in the works, so I think it's safe to assume that John Wick's going to make it out of it. But who knows? Who knows? And man, I'm stoked. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to probably do a rewatch here in the next few days, gearing up to the fourth one, coming out March 17th. So yeah, man, John Wick Chapter 4, y'all. Let me know your excitement level. If you have seen all 3, if you're excited for this new one, if you're not, I don't know what's wrong with you, but no, let me know if you are excited for John Wick Chapter 4. In theaters, we have coming out on the end of the month, Dungeons and Dragons, y'all. Now, I'm going to be honest, I've never played D&D in my life, but, I watched Stranger Things, and I've seen I have friends that have played D&D, and they have nothing but great things to say about it, which is great. It's a great community of people that play D&D, which is awesome. The trailers have been pretty awesome. Like, they look, the visual effects look clean. It's a fantasy film, which I love fantasy. We don't have enough fantasy nowadays, so I'm here for it, man. I'm excited for it. And like I said, I've heard some pretty good things about Dungeons and Dragons. Honor Among Thieves. It's a really good title, too. So there you have it, y'all. Those are all the new movies coming to theaters this month of March. So let me know, which movies are you most excited for? What movies did I miss out on any movies? If so, comment below. Talked about the stuff coming to theaters. Let's talk about what's coming to Netflix this month of March. And coming out Thursday, March 9th, we have You Season 4 Part 2 coming out. Now, again, this is a Part 2 of a Part 1. If you all have been following the show, if you all have been following this particular series, it has definitely been shaping up to be something very interesting. Again, we have Joel Goldberg, who's now going from New York. He then went to LA for a short period of time, and now he finds himself in London. And if you've seen Part 1, I don't want to spoil it here, but you know that there were definitely some unanswered questions revolving around Mr. Jonathan Moore, as should I call him, and it ended in a very interesting way. And now we're talking about Part 2, y'all. So without giving too much away, because I am under embargo, I have seen Part 2. I literally finished it today, and I'll just say this. If you're a fan of the series, you're going to watch it, obviously. But if you were a fan of Part 1, you're gonna be a fan of part two, because I'll just say this: part two is crazy. It is crazy, man. There's a lot of twists and turns, a lot of stuff I didn't see coming, some stuff I saw coming, but most of the stuff I didn't see. There are some people we haven't seen in a while coming in part two, and Joe is just he's dealing with a lot in part two, man. So again, if you enjoyed part one, you're definitely going to want to obviously finish part two, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. So like I had said, I have seen all of part two. I have shot all of the reviews. So by the time this video is uploaded, I'm going to have, well, I got a lot of editing to do, but we will have a full breakdown of each episode, like I did with part one, where I'm breaking down episode 6, 7, 8, 9, and doing an ending explain, and then making one gigantic video that's going to recap the entire fourth season. So any of you fans out there, let me know in the chat and in the comments if you're excited for part two, coming to Netflix on March 9th, Thursday. This is a series I was a fan of, y'all. This is Bones and Shadow Season 2. Now, I'm going to keep it at 110% with you all. I loved the first season, but it was, we were talking about D&D earlier. There's a lot of lore with this show, and it's based on novels. It's based on a series of books, which I haven't read, but I watched the first season. I fell in love with these characters. I'm a fantasy fiend, so I love fantasy and fractions and powers. There's people that can, illuminate light from their hands, fires. You can see Ben Barnes. He has some magical abilities. It's a really good show, man. Again, I'm going to have to watch my review to kind of refresh my memory. And again, the only reason I don't remember much of it is because it came out a couple years ago, number one. And if you all follow this channel, I watch a lot of movies and shows. So sometimes like you remember the characters, like, yeah, I like that character, I like that story. I remember what happened at the end, but how we got there, some of that stuff's a little bit blurry. So I'm going to have to revisit, watch a recap or something of my own and catch myself up. But again, I remember enjoying the fantasy elements, the characters. I believe it was a group called The Crow, which it was like we're split up in different missions. We have the Crows doing their thing. We got our main character dealing with Ben Barnes and this army of darkness, and they're trying to consume the world with darkness. So I remember all that stuff. And then there was some other plots I didn't really care for, involving like a soldier. He captures this girl, and it didn't really add up to anything. But I remember people saying, I read the books, like, oh, that's an important storyline that's going to have a payoff later on. So I'm a fan for it. It has some romance, but not too much romance. It does a good balance of making you care for these characters. It has a lot of action in it. It has a lot of, like I said, it was, for someone that didn't read the books, I'll be honest, it's a lot to take in. It took me a little bit, like a couple episodes to really kind of, and not from it wasn't because the show didn't handle it a lot. It's just a lot to take in because it's a lot of lore. It's a lot of world building. So I'm really looking forward to this new season, and I hope that it's going to continue, and if not be on the same par of season one, be even better. So here's the hoping, y'all. That is Shadow and Bone season 2 coming back to Netflix for its second season on Thursday, March 16th. So let me know if you all are excited about that. Speaking of excitement, I'm not too excited about that, but hey, I saw the first one. I'm a fan of these actors. I don't know if I'll watch it though. Let me know if there's any fans of Murder Mystery 2 film, and this came out. Let me know in the comments. This film came out like 4 or 5 years ago, right? If I'm not mistaken. But I will say this: I'm not surprised they made a sequel. I'm just surprised it took so long to make a sequel. We all know Netflix doesn't show their numbers, especially they don't have box office. But I remember when I see when it's like the most watched movies, the highest movie numbers as far as watch time and how many people watch it in the world. Look it up now. I'm going to do the research and put it on the screen once I find it. But this is one of the most highest watched movies on Netflix. So it makes sense why they would make a sequel. But it might be one of those situations where it's like too little too late. Like, why wasn't you're not making Star Wars. Why is it taking 4 or 5 years? It might not be that long, but I'm pretty confident that it's been at least 3 years. And it shouldn't, obviously you want films to take its time and make the best script. Probably, 2019 is when this film came out. So 4 years ago. So we'll see, man. Let me know if you all are fans of Murder Mystery, and if you're excited for part 2. We'll see. Hey, this might be a hit. This might be the funniest film of the year. I doubt it, but we'll see. So there are all the films coming to Netflix. Let me know in the comments, and of course, those watching live, which ones you're most excited for in the live chat, and we'll get to you guys' comments here. But let's move on to what's coming out to one of my favorite streaming services. It's all about quality and not quantity. Netflix. We're talking about Apple TV Plus, y'all. I'm a big fan of Apple TV Plus, and we got a big show making its return, and that is the third and I think final season of the one and only Ted Lasso. Now, what I'm hearing is this is the last season, which is sad, but I love when shows have a beginning, middle, and an end versus dragging out. Oh, we'll figure this plot out in season 6. Like, no, if you only had 3 seasons in mind, and yes, it's popular and wins Emmys every year, but you don't want to ruin something good. So if this is to be the last season of Ted Lasso, hopefully they go on high. I got to catch up, but if you've been watching Ted Lasso season 1, season 2, and of course you're excited for season 3, let me know in the comment section. Apple TV Plus. It's a great service, man. It's a great service. So let's move on to the big one, Disney Plus. You know, they got a lot of good stuff. Marvel, Pixar, Disney animated. But then they also have this little, little small niche. It's not popular. They have Star Wars. I don't know if you all had heard of Star Wars, but there's a show making its return. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the way. The Mandalorian, season 3, baby. Oh, yeah. Din, he's back. And that Baby Yoda. I'm sorry, not Baby Yoda. Grogu. He's coming back, y'all. Now, if you've been following this series and in particularly these characters, because if you saw Boba Fett, which wasn't a fan of the book of Boba Fett, was not a fan, but there was like a little mini series within a series that involved the Mandalorian, Din, and Grogu. Some Luke Skywalker, some Ahsoka Tano, some training. He decided to go a different path. He's going down the path of a Mandalorian, but he's also took up some skills with Luke Skywalker. So he's a little bit of Jedi, a little bit of Mandalorian, and here we are with season 3, y'all. So I'm a fan of this series. As I'm recording this on Tuesday night, it will be premiering on Wednesday. So by the time this video is uploaded, the series would have premiered. And I'm very excited to see what Dave Filoni and Favreau have cooked up with the amazing directors that they work with. I believe Rick Famuyiwa will be returning. You got to bring back Bryce Dallas Howard because she has surprised the hell out of me as a director. This is the way. This is the way. Mandalorian season 3 premiering on March 1st, man. It's here, y'all. It's here. So that's kind of the big thing coming to Disney Plus. Let's move on and go to HBO and the addition of HBO Max. What's coming out this month? Well, we got a show by the name of Perry Mason, y'all. I am a Perry Mason fan. I didn't watch it when I was, when it was out back in the day because I wasn't even born. But this is a character that does go back all the way to the like the 40s and 50s and 60s, if I'm not mistaken. And now this is another show. I'm not gonna lie. It took a while for him to come back. Perry Mason first premiered, I want to say in 2020 because I covered it on the channel. You can check out my reviews here. Yeah, 2020 is when this show came out. So it's been 3 years, y'all. It's been 3 years, and that's a long time to wait for a new series that had a lot of momentum. They got to find it again, and hopefully it's a good season. So March 6th, which is on a Monday, shout out to HBO. They gave me the screeners a couple days ago, so I'm going to probably try to watch the first episode. And if the demand is there, if the fandom is there, if people are loving the discussion, we will be doing what we did with season 1, which is covering it week by week. And it's one of those shows where I think it does have enough meat on the bone to have the speculation because it's a Perry Mason. He's a detective. He's trying to figure out a crime and a murder. So it's a lot of conversations. Who done it? Is it that person? Is it this person? What's the motives? What is this character about? So it's one of those shows. And like I said, if you know Perry Mason, he goes back a while. So again, if the demand is there, if the people want to talk about it, we will be covering it every single week. So come out and support, when I drop that review on Monday after the episode premieres. And if you all, like I said, are on board, because we did it for season 1, I covered every episode. We can do it again for season 2, coming to HBO March 6th. Let me know if there's any Perry Mason fans in the building. All right, y'all, I'm excited. This is one of my favorite shows ever. Like, this is one of my favorite shows of all time, man. And it's breaking my heart to say this. It's the last season of Succession. That's right. March 26th on a Sunday. If YouTube didn't have copyrights, I would play that fire theme. I just hear it in my head right now. No. Ah, man. Kendall. Man. Siobhan. The whole damn crew, man. Tom, Greg, they're coming back. And for one last time, man, it's going to be sad to see them go. But like I said, when I was talking about Ted Lasso, I would much rather creators have a plan to have a beginning, a middle, in the end versus dragging something out. Because if I'm being honest, when I covered the show on the channel a year and a half ago, I've always anticipated the show to go at least 5 seasons. Well, I should say at the maximum 5 seasons. But I said I wouldn't be surprised if they stopped at a season 4. And that is the case. They will be ending its season with the 4th season. If you've been following along, you all know how season 3 ended. Logan, he has abandoned the kids and they have to fend for their own. So, Siobhan, Rome, and Kendall have to put their egos aside, and they want to have the mansion, the cars, the money, the respect, the egos they've grown. They got to make some money on their own because Papa Logan Roy, he's working with Alexander Skarsgård's character, and they got their own thing going, man. And Adrian Brody's in the mix, so I'm a big fan of this series, man. I love it since the first day I saw it. It's such a good show. It's the drama, it's the characters, it's the family, it's the backstabbing, it's the political angles they go with. It's this big conglomerate of this one man that has built TV shows, theme parks, has stocks out of the guru. I mean, it's just all on one man. He's coming to the end of his, it's called Succession. So who is the child that will take on the mantle of this family and the legacy? And right now, none of the kids are in good graces with their dad. But I tell you who is in good grace. Again, if you've seen season 3, Tom, how's the married life with Siobhan, with the move you made at the end of that season, man? Ooh, I love Succession, man. I can't wait for this new season. But let me know in the chat and let me know in the comments if you all are Succession fans. If you're not, listen, there's a reason why it wins Emmys every year. It's a reason why, these actors get awards every year and best writing, best drama. It's a fantastic series, man. It is spectacular. And I'm sad to see it go, but I have a feeling it's going to go out on a high. So that is Succession, the 4th and final season, coming to HBO on March 26th. All right, y'all. And again, for those that watch my season 3 breakdowns every week, which I had so much fun covering that series, with this being the last season, I am hoping that HBO allows me to get to screeners again so I can plan it out and, do the notes and really do a breakdown like I did for season 3. And we may or may not do watch parties because it is the final season. So we'll see. But I'm really excited for it. Let me know in the chat if you all are. So moving on to our last big streaming service, and that is Amazon Prime Video. What's coming out? There's a lot of stuff with Amazon, but there's one thing that has my attention, and that is based on my experience with another series from the same creator that's making this series. He's a co-creator, and that is on March 17th on a Friday, Swarm. Now, as far as I know, I think they're going to drop all the episodes on one day. So it's 8 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. I'm reaching out to Amazon trying to get the screeners where I can break it all down for you all. But this is something I'm excited for a couple reasons. Number one, I mentioned how I'm a fan of the creators. One of those creators is Donald Glover, and he created one of my favorite series of all time, which ended last year, and that was Atlanta. So he's bringing that flavor to Amazon. He did a deal with them a couple years ago, and this is one of his shows that he's going to be doing for them. Dominique Fishback is starring as our main character. I don't know the names of the characters quite yet, but she is playing our lead character. And if you've seen the trailer, if you haven't, it's a very interesting show. So the premise is you have this young lady who is obsessed with this artist. And if you've seen the trailer and if you saw the title, Swarm, artist, R&B, it's playing on the ideas of someone stalking a Beyonce-like figure. And she is very obsessed. And again, you saw the picture here is blood. So if you get in her way, if you stop her from meeting her icon that she loves, whoever this character in this fictitious world is, which when they announced this in the Hollywood Reporter or Deadline or Variety, they said, and this was their words, they said this is adjacent to Atlanta. This is a sister series of Atlanta. So I wouldn't be surprised for Atlanta fans out there if there's a couple Easter eggs in Swarm that might allude to this taking place in the Atlanta universe. Whether that, if you've seen Atlanta, there's like an owl poster in the background, Paperboy in the background. I would love that. And if I'll tell you something right now, it probably won't happen. And listen, if there's no Atlanta connections, it won't, it won't change my experience with the show. Cause I don't expect them. This is not Atlanta. This isn't Atlanta season 2 or season 5. This is his own show. I'm just saying, I'm just speculating here. Donald Glover's attached. They have said that this is a sister series of Atlanta. So they put that out there. And just because you're a sister series doesn't mean it's kind of like a spinoff, right? It's like just because you're a spinoff of a main IP doesn't mean you have to make all the connections of the main story. I'm just saying, if I see a Paperboy poster, if I see one of those characters popping up like in the background or have like a quick scene, Van, Ern, Darius, I will freak out. That's all I'll say. Because I hold that show near and dear to my heart. I was so sad to see it go. Ended on a really good high. I miss those discussions that we have in Atlanta. But hopefully this new series, and from what I can tell, again, dropping all on Amazon on one day, it's probably a one and done series, like a mini series to explore this character who's, obsessing over this artist. And it's going to probably tackle on that obsessive nature, people getting attached, making up things in their head and doing things to get their way. So it's going to probably tackle all that. And it seems like it's a satire, black comedy too. So it's going to be some comedic beats, but it's also going to be, like I said, very based on the trailer, very, very serious, very drama filled. And again, if you watched Atlanta's funny as hell, but Atlanta could get dark, y'all. And especially Donald Glover. He don't play around, man. So y'all know, there's some darkness in Atlanta. I'm talking about Teddy Perkins, if you know what I mean. And even the last season got pretty dark and scary with the ghost and all that stuff. But I'm excited for it, man. Let me know in the comments in the live chat if you all are looking forward to Swarm coming to Amazon on the 17th of March. And let's get excited, man, because it's Donald Glover, it's TV, it's Dominic Fishback. It might be a hit, man. It might be a hit. But there you have it, y'all. Those are all the streaming movies, streaming shows with your Netflixes of the world, your Amazon Prime, your Disney Plus, your HBO. So let me know in the comments, what of all those shows, what of all those movies are you most excited for? What movies and shows? Because listen, that was just the things that got me excited that I'm familiar with. There's a bazillion other things on Netflix and all the other streaming services that I probably missed. So let me know in the chat which I should be excited for. And based on my rundown here, you can expect a lot of content from this channel. Movie reviews, In and Explained, spoiler discussions, week-to-week TV breakdowns. It's a lot of stuff. I'm going to have to find a way to clone myself, to watch all this stuff, to review all this stuff, but I'm excited for it because you guys make it fun. You make it excited. So I hope you all are looking forward to all the fun stuff that we have lined up for the month of March. So like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Catch you guys on the next breakdown. So